And hello and welcome to the Voice of Business here on Business Radio X. We are broadcasting from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. And this is the monthly Gwinnett Chamber radio show here on Business Radio X. And every month we love to talk to business leaders, and we have three small business leaders in the studio today. Joining us is Reggie Mobley with Mobley HVAC, Reno Borgognoni with Reno Borgognoni CPA, and Pierina Anderson with Twin Cookies and Sweet. Reggie, why don't you tell us about your business, Mobley HVAC, and what inspired you to start your business?
Well, that's a good question. When I first started, I had a produce stand, so I used to sell greens, tomatoes, cucumbers at local farmers market, and I started off very young. And I realized the customers used to love my produce. I mean, they would line up. If they saw my truck backed up at the farmer's market, I mean, they would be in line to get my produce, the greens and all that. So what inspired me to do the HVAC, I've always been interested in it, but just knowing that the customers used to love my produce, and I said, if I can do this, then they'll love what I do if I can work on their air conditioner and get them cooling again.
That's quite a leap going from produce to heating and air.
Well, produce is you're out in the hot sun. You're plowing, you're planting. It's hard work.
Smart man. You said enough of this. I'm going inside where the air conditioning is.
Exactly.
That's great. So you're with Mobley HVAC. How long you been in business now?
Oh man, about 22 years.
I got to ask you, who was your first client?
My first client, believe it or not, it was a little lady. Her name was it was his wife. Her name was Ametha Mizell, and it's back in my hometown, which is Ray, Georgia. It's a really, really small rural community, and I was back in '95, and she was really, really picky, and it took us a while to get that first job done, but we got it done, and we satisfied her. So Miss Mizell was the first customer that we had.
That's great. That's cool that you remember your first one. You always remember the first one, don't you?
Yes.
Also joining us, of course, is Reno Borgognoni. And Reno, you've had your CPA firm for many, many years. What inspired you to get into the business that you're in these days?
Well, Mike, I believe I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. I grew up a cotton farmer, running our own business, and I got an accounting degree. Obviously, that's what I wanted to be. And when I was sitting there in corporate America, and as tax season came around and everybody was like, hey, can you help me out? I love doing that. I had fun doing that. So I just paid a little attention to it over time. It grew and grew. So I was able to take it full time eventually. When my son said, hey, I'm going to go to college and become an accountant, I thought I would put a little focus on it. And that's what we did. I built my own practice to bring my son in. That's
got to make you happy when your own son says, I want to do what you're doing, Dad.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. I didn't push him, but it was his choice, and we're having fun with it today.
So you've always been good with the numbers, even as a kid, perhaps?
Yeah, I was kind of like a math person. I did good math, and that's a subject most people struggle with. I didn't have that problem. But then you learn as you become an accountant and a CPA that you don't really need to know the math. It's all theory and practice. It's not really mathematics, but.
And these days, the computer does all the work for you.
You're right.
You just kind of plug in the numbers.
It does all the math for you anyway.
There you go. How long have you been in business?
Well, basically, I started practicing in 1988, part-time, but I've been full-time now since 2015.
Were you 12 years old when you first started?
No, I'm a little older than that.
Do you remember your first client?
I sure do, and my first client is still a current client. His name's Brian Boone. He's right here from the Decatur, Georgia area. He started a little lawn management, grass cutting service way back when, and I don't even remember how he got my name, but he picks up the phone, he calls me up and asks me if I could help him, and I've been helping him ever since.
That's awesome. Our third guest is Pierina Anderson, and she is the owner of Twin Cookies and Sweets, and so glad to have you. What inspired you to get into the business you're in, and how long have you been in business?
So I've been in business for 5 years now. I actually started one day. I just picked up my kids from daycare, and their godmother wanted to spend time with them and went out baking cookies. I'm always a little extra and go above and beyond, so I decided to decorate them, post them on Facebook, and everybody started asking me, hey, are you selling them? And I was like, sure, why not? And ever since, I just started selling cookies, and the rest is history.
Are you doing all your business online, or do you have an actual brick and mortar?
I'm actually doing all of them online, and we're working on getting our shop.
Who was your first customer outside of family? Because I'm sure family was all over it, but who was your first customer at Twin Cookies and Sweets?
Oh my gosh, bless her heart. It was Miss Kathy McDaniel. She is one of my really good friends from high school, Mom. And me and her daughter play soccer together. And she reached out to me and placed her order. Seriously, bless her heart, because my cookies used to be so ugly back then that when I go back and look at them.
Who cares what they look like? It's how they taste, right?
Well, mine are custom cookies, so I draw on the cookies. I can make logos and all of these things. So back then, when I go back to the pictures and look at it, I'm just like, oh, whoever buys these cookies to look at them now, how they look.
Well, let me ask you about that. So say if Reggie wants some cookies that look like, I don't know, an air conditioner or something with his logo on it, do you get that detailed?
Yes, I do everything. So you just tell me what you want and I'll make it happen. I'll make it into a cookie.
Sounds like a cookie party, Reggie.
I don't miss any meals. You can see that, right?
For all of you, it's scary when you start your own business. You're responsible for everything. It's not just showing up and then going home at 5 o'clock. You're really working 24 hours these days. What advice would you give someone, Reggie, that's looking to maybe get out of the corporate world and maybe start their own business?
Well, it's simple. I believe if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Ooh, I like that.
And, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, starting your day, planning, writing down things, any ideas that come across your head during the course of a day, you should write it down. And once again, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And it'll all happen for you.
I know a lot of people that they tell me when I had to start my own business, I was terrified. It sounds like you were actually in a good place when you started yours.
Yeah.
Reno, same thing for you. What advice would you give to somebody that's thinking about starting their own? Not a CPA firm, because we know you got enough competition as there is, but starting their own business out there.
Yeah, it's very similar to Reggie. I would say, and what I kept preaching to myself was stick to what you know, study and learn, and make sure you know all about, your subject matter. In my case, it was doing accounting and taxes, whatever your service you're providing. Be the expert at it. And treat your customers good, to where they will tell others about you. And lastly, don't be afraid to ask questions and get help.
If you think you know everything, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. That entrepreneur that thinks he knows everything is an entrepreneur that is in trouble and don't know it.
You've been doing this a long time. I'm sure you're still learning.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I learn something every day.
Pierina, same question for you. What advice, because I know it's a little scary to go in, especially a business like yours where you probably have a lot of costs associated with having to make the cookies and make the treats.
Mine is just do it. It's never the right time to open your own business. Just risk everything and go for it.
If you're passionate, go for it.
Yes.
Don't let anything hold you back.
Correct.
Because I'm sure some of you folks here may have told you, oh, you don't want to do that, and they might try to discourage you. Did that happen to anybody in here?
Oh, yes. All the time. All the time it happens.
You want to work for somebody else. You don't have to worry about the paycheck coming. Reggie, you have employees.
Yes.
A lot of times, sometimes you'll pay the employees before you pay yourself.
That has happened plenty of times. Did the job get done? No, but do I still have to pay them? Yeah, but you know the recourse behind that. But of course, yeah, that's right. We have to do that quite a bit.
You're all very successful right now, Reggie. What are you most proud of?
That's another good question. I'm proud of being in a position to be able to listen better, because you have to listen to what people say and what people don't say to be able to help them. Because sometimes they won't tell you everything. Prime example, if you're going to the house and you notice the system is broken down, it's not working, the customer may not tell you that they've been changing the filters regularly. And you go up in the attic or you find the filter, you look at it, and it's all matted and the system is sweating and leaking water. And you say to yourself, this filter's never been changed before. And that's one of the causes of the system being broken down.
Yeah.
So being a good listener.
And really asking a lot of questions, too.
Asking a lot of questions.
And then listening to the answers.
Exactly. Yeah, the customers will sometimes tell you exactly what's wrong with it, but they don't really know, by the questions that you ask of being a good listener, yeah.
Well, it's a macho thing for guys, because we don't want to say we know nothing about our AC and our heating. We want to say, yeah, I did this, I was working on it. You probably get that a lot.
I get that a lot.
Now, when it comes to taxes and CPA work, Reno, a lot of folks like me admit we don't know what the heck we're doing, which is why we hire a professional like you. I'm sure you're asking a lot of questions all the time. You have to listen.
Yes. You have to get that picture from the client, of what their situation is. So If you don't listen, you're not going to pick up all the information you need from them.
Probably won't
we
be.
ask a lot of questions to get those answers, of course.
Yeah, you won't stay in business very long.
Right.
But you've been able to stay in business for through ups and downs in the economy. I mean, I think you have a business that might be recession proof. People still have to do taxes and all their other accounting work. What are you most proud of in the long time that you've been in business?
I'm most proud of the fact that I've actually been able to build my own practice and maintain it as a personal service. That's something that my client base greatly seeks, is the personal service, me servicing them, not one of my 12 junior accountants or something of that nature, right? So they like the personal service, and we're proud enough to be at the right size with the right billing rates now to where we can do it and have enough time to spend with the client.
And to pay you a compliment, Reno, I mean, you and your son, Reno Jr., you guys have personalities, too. And I don't mean this bad, but sometimes people that are number crunchers, they don't have that personality. And you're a fun person to be around, and you get involved in the community.
It's true that the stereotype for us accountants are, kind of laid back, shy, introverted, right? And
right.
True, I'm not that. That's, I think, one of the areas that back when I was in the commercial career, my bosses were always saying, hey, you'd make a really good CPA, a public practitioner CPA. And I kind of, enough of those hints got me out there into the business, as you can see.
Great. Well, Pierina, what are you most proud of now that you've been in business?
Well, mine is most of it my family for adjusting into the cookie world. I brought them in, and they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. I have my twin boys and my husband picks up everything that I'm liking of, and I'm just proud of them for just adjusting to all of this.
Speaking for, I know Reggie already. He said, we love to eat, don't we? Well, Reno, you're Italian, so, I mean, I know how that goes.
I'm over here wanting a cookie right now.
Exactly. So I know you're proud, but I got to ask on behalf of all the guys here, talk about some of the products that you provide. Cookies, but I also see treats and sweets.
Yes, so I'm actually Peruvian. So we make, I make Peruvian treats, such as alfajores, mazamorra, rice pudding, so little things, little Peruvian sweets. That's what I add to my menu. And also we provide shaved ice. My husband is Hawaiian, so we brought our machines from Hawaii, and we do shaved ice and everything.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the company,
Mm-hmm.
Twin Cookies and Sweets. Cookies with a K, by the way.
Yes.
But the name Twin. Now, obviously some thought went into the name of the company because for Mobley HVAC,
Mm-hmm.
Reggie, it took you 5 seconds to come up with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Reno Borgognoni CPA. Reno did nothing but add CPA to the end of his name.
Georgia State Board of Accounting made me name my firm that.
But yours is a little different. Twin Cookies. Where did the twin come from?
Okay, so in my logo, as you can see here, I have two little llamas. I'm Peruvian.
Two llamas.
So I had the llamas, and then my kids, I have twin boys. So I did two little llamas, twin. And then cookies, both of them with K because their names starts with the K. One is Kekoa, and the other one is Keone.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I came up with the name Twin Cookies and Sweets.
Great. That is neat to hear. As we do this podcast in late June of 2020, we're in the midst of this pandemic. I mean, none of us has ever experienced anything like this in our lifetime. And I think we're all kind of learning on the go. Reggie, for your HVAC company, how has the pandemic affected you, and have you had to kind of change things you do in your business?
Yes, we have. We're doing more indoor air quality products, meaning things like UV lighting, plasma systems, HEPA air filtration systems, installing it in people's houses. And those products does kill viruses, mold, bacteria, mildew. If you got a musty smell, it kills off all that. And just being able to protect the person's home. When they come home, the air conditioning is running and it is blowing air. So you want to have that air sanitized, getting rid of the viruses, mold, bacteria, and things like that. So we started selling more of those products, and customers are really liking it. That's one of our biggest sellers is our indoor air quality products. And the way we protect ourselves from coming in your house, we do things like shoe covers. We carry a bottle of sanitizer in our back pocket. I make sure of that. Anything we touch, we immediately sanitize in our hand. We wear a mask. So, yeah, we're protecting ourselves, and we try to protect your home as well.
You've been considered an essential employer?
Yes.
Because obviously things break down. People need you to come out still.
Yeah, when it's hot, it's hot. And you don't like it when it's hot in your house.
Especially in Georgia.
Especially in Georgia.
You're in the right state, that's for sure.
Yes.
Reno, have you had to change anything? You know, right off the bat, thinking of a CPA, I would think not much would change, but maybe it has.
Yeah, well, if I had a big office and a lot of staff, a lot of things would have changed. But I was fortunate enough to already have been working from home.
Yeah, and everything
So
you do, you could pretty
that
much
wasn't a change.
You could
for
do a
me,
lot
right?
of your stuff virtually.
Yes, we do almost everything remotely from the client. So, I do have clients over. I've had clients over. This year we had almost none over. We changed there. We were a little bit more forceful with the client that was not that into reading emails or whatever. We kind of talked them into, let's do it that way instead of you coming over this year, So we just did a little bit of that. We implemented social distance. If someone does come over, we keep our distance. I only have 1 or 2 at the most come over. I don't have 4 or 5 people come paddle up in my basement home office no more, like they did in the past.
Right.
But otherwise, we are, one of the firms that everybody still needs. And when all these loans and everything were passed and came out, everybody needed help to do those and file those. So I actually gained more work or new work from the those crisis and related plans that were all passed, all those loans and,
of course,
and credits and everything,
I know a lot of folks that their business has actually peaked and done better during this whole crisis that we're going through.
Yeah, there's some that, anybody who was who was remotely taking care of their customer base probably are doing pretty good because more of that was required.
Pierina, you take your orders online and then you bake all the cookies and the treats, but then you have to deliver them, don't you?
Well, actually, before the pandemic, I didn't deliver. It was a front porch pickup, and but I really like to interact with my clients. During the pandemic, I started offering, it was a no contact front porch delivery, and I deliver all over the Atlanta metro area. And I ended up baking over 400 baskets and delivered them all over the place. So I offer that as one of the way that I can continue my business and protect everyone. And then the other one, if you would like to pick it up from my place, I just have a little porch in the front where you just come and pick up your bag, and it has your name and everything.
Have you seen business stay steady or decline or even go up during this pandemic?
Mine actually went up a lot. When I started offering the delivery, no-contact delivery, it was pretty much people from all over the states. I had clients from Alabama sending baskets to their grandkids in Smyrna or Austell and places like that. So they were able to stay in contact with their family during Easter, Mother's Day, and all of these holidays.
I didn't even think about that. Kind of like flowers. I mean, anybody in the country can contact you and deliver anywhere in the Atlanta metro area.
Yes, I had the one that was the farthest one was from Iowa, and she sent cookies to Hawaii and Iowa and a few of them to Florida.
So they don't have to be local. You'll ship them anywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. As we get ready to wrap up the program, you all are members of the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. Thus, you're on the show here, The Voice of Business, which is the monthly chamber show here on Business Radio X. I want to ask you all about your membership with the chamber and how has that helped your business. And we'll start with you, Reggie. How long have you been a member?
Oh, man, for the last 6 years.
Okay.
I've been a member with the chamber.
And how have you been able to utilize your membership?
Absolutely, yeah. One thing I love about the chamber is the after hours that they have every month. It's free food, free drinks.
We go back to the food a lot, don't we?
Yes. Other than that,
but the networking too.
The networking.
I would hope you network sometimes in between bites.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of the members that's in there that go to the meeting on Thursdays and Fridays, I know some of those people personally, and we continuously do work for them, and it's always continuous referrals. That's why I stay with the chamber, because it's always referrals coming out of there.
Since you've been a member for quite some time now, how much of your business would you say has come from the chamber directly or indirectly? Because I know a lot of folks I talk to, sometimes they'll say 50, 60, 80% of my business has been because of my chamber membership.
I would say about 70%.
Wow.
70. It's big. It's really big. I can pick up the phone and just call somebody with another business, like one person in particular, Derek Bell. He's Arrowhead Plumbing.
Yep.
I pick up the phone and pick his brain all the time, and I refer him work. He refers me work, and I think it's awesome. The chamber is awesome.
Reno, can you beat those numbers?
I don't know. I've been a member as myself as a CPA firm for about same time, about 6 years or so. I've actually been around the chamber probably 15 years. Before that, I was a CFO of an IT staffing firm, and we were members, MD&E Inc. But I didn't show up much then. I had salesmen, But at any rate, as I turned to focus on myself, back in 2014 or 15, whenever I joined, I can't remember now, it's been all good. I can say that I get 100% of my business from referrals, okay? But about 6% of that is from my current clients, so the rest is pretty much the chambers.
And it's a matter of not just joining the chamber, but getting out to the events like both you guys do and meeting folks.
Yep. I kind of fade away, for the first half the year when tax season keeps me away from the Friday meetings that I like to go to, but I can usually make the after hours or any kind of a evening or weekend thing,
And this year, everything's kind of been delayed as far as tax season because of the whole COVID thing.
Right. That scared us at first, when all this hit, and I was like, oh no, half my clients are going to go out of business, so therefore I will go out of business, right?
Yeah.
And then when they delayed the tax, well, everybody just stopped. People who you were working on and filing and due dates were coming near, they just stopped. So it's like my rushed tax season of April didn't happen. It's just casually continuing. So I usually have nothing to do in June or July, and now I'm very busy. So it's, I don't really, to me, I'm still shocked every day because this is not normal for me.
Right.
I've been in practice long enough to never have worked a June or July before, and
yeah, and here you are.
And then with all of the little loans and credits that came apart, they had the owner of the firms had to do all kind of crazy calculations and build all kind of statements and documentation, and so it gave me a little extra work there.
And Pierina, how long have you been with the chamber?
I actually been a year.
Okay.
I started making cookies for the Moxie Awards, and I just got an email a couple of weeks ago that I was nominated to one of the
Congratulations.
awards. Thank you. But
you can buy off the judges with cookies and treats. Just saying.
That's probably how I got in there. But most of my business come from the chamber. I would say 60% of it.
As one of the newer members of the Gwinnett Chamber, what was it that led you to joining?
Actually, it was Lena that reached out to me. She tried my cookies with Maryland in one of their events, and she reached out to me and she said she wanted me here and she wanted me to be part of it, and she brought me here.
Awesome. As we wrap up the show now, we want to ask each of you how people can get in touch with you, and definitely give your websites for those that would like to check into your services. So Reggie, for your company, Mobley HVAC. People need some repair work or service work or installation, whatever the case may be. What's the best way to reach out to you and find out more about your company?
Well, you can do it a couple of ways. You can go to www.mobleyhvac.com. You can click on service request. You can send in a request online, and we'll get it. If you have a question, you can also put a question in there. We'll answer it back. Our phone number is 770-939-6998. Or if you see our van riding around, just honk.
Honk at the van.
Yeah.
Chase the van down.
Yeah, there you go.
I need your help. I assume the website is probably on the side of the van.
It is.
There you go. Make sure you have a pad and pen and write it down.
Gotcha.
Reno, for those that need help with their numbers, need their help with their taxes, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can get in touch with us by phone, or email. We go by RMBCPA. That's our little logo. So if you can just remember that. So we're RMBCPA.biz for our website. Another firm took the .com. I've been pretty upset about that. But at any rate, you can also reach us at 678-971-7366. We're readily available when you need us.
So even though you're busy, you're never too busy to take on new clients.
Not right now, anyway.
And Pierina, when Reno and Reggie and myself are ready to place our orders for cookies, how would we do that?
You can always go to my website, and it's twincookiesandsuites.com, and cookies is KOOKIES. And my phone number is 678-793-1929.
Twin Cookies and Sweets, all spelt out.com.
Yes.
Great. I want to thank all three of our guests for joining us here on the program. I want to thank our listeners as well, and also Amanda for producing the show. A reminder that The Voice of Business can be heard every month here on Business Radio X. It's also available on all of your favorite podcast platform apps, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Podchaser. It's just search for The Voice of Business or Gwinnett Chamber, and the show will pop up. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the show, and we'll see you next time here on Business Radio X.